Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hello and welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, episode 20. Oh my goodness, we're at episode 20, y'all. Can you believe it? This is going to be a lot of a reflective of where I'm at now, what's coming next, and what's coming down the pipeline. So, a lot of feels coming, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, where each week I will be discussing all things fasting and how it can become the most valuable tool in your personal toolkit so that you can live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Vicki Sharon, and thank you for joining me. Yeah, so episode 20, can you believe it? We made it to 20 episodes. Wow. And again, for folks, because I love to share the live broadcast on my Facebook page, The Fasting Focused Lifestyle on Facebook. If you're watching right now, thank you. Truly, I said it before hitting the button to record, but I'm going to say it again because I can't tell you all how thankful I am for every single one of you. And maybe if you have never been to my Facebook page and only found me through the podcast, the podcast world universe, then I'm thankful for you too. Every single person that is connected with me, that has gone to my website, that has listened to my story. I'm getting the feels already. That has resonated with my story, that has impacted change on their life. Like, I am thankful for you. I am thankful for every single one of you because I feel so grateful, so lucky to be at this position where I'm at to use my story to impart and affect and inspire change in people. That's why I'm doing all this. That's the goal. I want to be the change that I wish to see in the world. And it's happening. It is happening on a global scale. And the more of those ripples that I see, that gets me in the biggest, most beautiful feels that I could have never even imagined that it would have this kind of reach. And it still continues to grow. It still continues to just ripple beautifully, dramatically every single day, every single, notification that I get. Somebody else gets moved by my story, by being inspired by what I did, how I did it, the positive influence. I can't tell you how grateful and how thankful. So before I get started, I'm going to give all of you, whether listening to the recording on my podcast or watching me live here, I'm giving you all, I hope you feel this warm, squishy, it's been mid-90s in Florida, so I'm giving you warmth. If it's not warm where you are, I'm giving you a warm, squishy, filled with gratitude hug right now. I hope you can feel it. Super thankful for every single one of you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started before I'm just on a gratitude train here. Choo-choo. So where I'm at now, I can't believe that we're at episode 20. So with being at episode 20, I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I've been doing a lot of where I'm at now, not just weight-wise, not just academically with what I'm pursuing with my degree with Arizona State University online, which I love, by the way, forks up, woo, we're doing this. I just got my notifications for grades and it's looking like I'm making the dean's list again, which is fantastic, but it also means that there is such a significance and importance in the knowledge that I'm taking. And as I've said to y'all so many times, every time when I'm studying, when I'm taking a test, when I'm doing a report, a paper, assignment, whatever, if there is something that's immediately tangible takeaway for all you guys, I want to give it to you all immediately because I feel like that's why I'm doing all this. That's why I am being this catalyst for change for every single person that needs it, because there needs to be more of this. There needs to be more of this vocal, open, candid, raw experience that people's lives can be changed this way. People's lives can be imparted. Like, you don't have to stay stuck where you're at. And the more that I'm able to speak on the fasting platform from my experience, the more beautiful this ride is, the more meaningful it is, the more significant and change that can continue to ripple outwards to people, because we need this. It needs to continue on a global scale. And again, like I said before, I'm seeing the ripples. Like, I'm seeing this before my eyes. I'm connecting with folks that are implementing the change in their lives. I can't even speak, in their lives. And it's so beautiful. Like, it gets me worked up every single time. Oh, it's just so beautiful. So yes, like, academically, I love everything that's going on right now. Is it easy? Just like with my fasting journey. Is it easy? No, but it is so heavy and significant that I know the work that I'm doing is going to provide the long-term return. It definitely is. And where I'm at academically, oh, so important. Professionally, it just beautifully complements everything I'm doing academically, beautifully complements everything I'm doing professionally with my fasting consulting. I keep learning so many more little tips, tricks, little, as I said before, nuggets of wisdom. Such a weird term. I apologize. Maybe not. These nuggets of wisdom that I can just immediately give to you immediately, so you can implement onto your life. Little factoids that maybe I had been practicing before, with, like how I was talking before about these meditative kind of practices that I learned about in my psychology course. Immediately being able to give that explanation and really deep wisdom to you all on how the significance and all that can be for your lives. Like, that means a lot to me. So if I'm able to take things that I learned immediately and give them right back to you, like, that's beautiful. Like, I'm getting my money's worth out of this whole experience. Academically, professionally, like, this is a beautiful ride. My weight, I am totally happy with where I'm at now. Yes, there have been some fluctuations because I am happy with riding the waves of maintenance. And as much as we say that getting to where we want to be, like, to reach our goal weight, that takes a lot of dedication, a lot of effort to put in those practices, implementing those habits. Once you get to the stage of maintenance, and for folks that are there or maybe are getting close to being there, it takes a little bit more of a shift. But I feel with this lifestyle, as you get closer to your maintenance, your goal, your end, your final point of deliberate weight loss efforts, I feel with this lifestyle, in comparison to everything else out there with diet culture, this lifestyle with implementing fasting as a lifestyle tool is going to be so much easier to stick with, because, as I've said in almost every single other episode that I've talked about, these lifestyle changes, these behavioral changes, welcoming and keeping mindful of the balances of life that happen every single day, down to second, minute to minute, hour to hour. Changes can happen in the blink of an eye. They can happen at a split second's notice. But this lifestyle with fasting as a tool, not as a restrictive diet, right? Fasting as a tool is going to help you maintain your composure, your balance, regardless of what life is going to throw your way. Because if you haven't experienced much hardship in your life so far, I hope you're thankful for that. Just know that there's bound to be additional changes and challenges coming down the pipeline for you. That's just the balance of life, and we can't run away from that. We can't avoid it. There's always going to be something coming down in our future. And with fasting as this beautiful tool that we can always come back to, this is something I feel with this lifestyle only keeps you stable, strong, and able to ride the waves. It's like a, whatever the horrible storm of life. Like it can be total, beautiful, calm waters, or it can be just this crashing waves of a, hurricane, tsunami storm or whatever coming down your way. And if we are feeling like in a victim mentality, or that we have to be super restrictive of ourselves, as conventional diet culture will tell you, it's going to make dealing with these huge changes in life really challenging and difficult to deal with, instead of utilizing fasting as not just with weight loss and that behavior correction, but everything you have in your life. Like I was just talking to folks today about how what I'm working at personally, professionally, academically, those behaviors and lessons that I've learned throughout my journey with fasting, I can integrate, implement what I've learned on my fasting journey with my weight loss efforts into what I'm working now towards with things that I'm working on personally and professionally with. I haven't mentioned it too much, but I am in the process, the very early stages of putting a book together. It's probably going to be closer to the end of the year that things start to come out with it. But putting all this together can be a very challenging and taxing kind of process for anybody that has gone that route before. But it's something that, again, with this lifestyle can be managed. And really that's with anything that you're working on and that you have that desire to grow and challenge yourself and to want to make those changes for yourself, for your future, to know like, hey, that those, like we've talked before, those little steps, those tiny habits towards that bigger goal, and our attentiveness in every single one of those steps with our awareness, with every step, with every breath, it's going to make the process all the more, for me, and I hope it is for you too, all the more enjoyable. Keeping present in every single one of those moments is going to also reaffirm and remind you how strong you are, how capable you are, how great you can handle these challenges that come your way. Keeping that calm, level-minded mentality about yourself is going to make you, like, pretty much, to me, unstoppable. And I hope you guys feel that same way too, because this is what I want for you. Every single person that listens to me, that has heard any of my content, that has listened to any of my episodes, videos, etc., etc. This is what I want for you all. I want you all to know that you guys, you all, ladies, men, whoever, anybody, everybody, you all can have these drastic changes in your life that may initially start off as saying, like, of course you want to become a smaller size. But there comes a point on this journey with your fasting that it becomes bigger than that. So yes, you start out maybe by saying like, oh, I want to lose X amount of pounds. Oh, I want to get to this size or whatever. Further along in your journey, it's kind of like, and you're looking at your goal on like a little blip, and that little blip goes bigger and outward. And you're like, wow, maybe this isn't just about the weight loss after all. Because as I've said in previous episodes, you come to realize all these difficult thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you had held on to. And if you were like me, it was pretty much your entire life that you held on to these beliefs that maybe you were insignificant, maybe you were told that you looked or were a certain way, that you weren't good enough, and you were always spoken down to or abused verbally, emotionally, whatever. It's horrible. Like the thoughts and feelings that we hold on to from others that we kept in our mind, with fasting, they bubble up, obviously. They come to head where we have to deal with them. Yes, we have to deal with them, because if we don't dismantle them and pull out, like I've said before, those mental weeds, they will take over, and we have to get them out and remove them, because they don't belong in this beautiful home that we've got. Take them out. I'm not going to go too far into that tangent because we've talked about that in other episodes, and we may revisit it in future episodes, but everything that I've learned on this journey complements each other, and it's just like a beautiful kind of, like a beautiful kind of parfait that I just see it just like fasting is this base, right? And everything just kind of goes bloop, 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 like right on top of it beautifully. And everything that I'm able to work on or have come into my life that maybe presents as a challenge, I feel with what I've learned, again, as I've said, with fasting, I'm able to tackle it a lot calmer with a balanced, level head. So challenges aren't that challenging. Are they still challenging? Absolutely. But knowing what I know with what I've conquered and figured out for myself with fasting, I'm able to do it step by step, one bite. As for those of you who've seen that Dr. Fung video where he talks about me, one bite at a time, right? Literally. So one step at a time, one breath at a time, one, moment at a time. And we can't wish for that far off goal or distance to be here now. Appreciate the moment that you're in. Appreciate the struggle, the mess, the struggle. Because if you don't, if your mind is elsewhere while you're in the weeds, in the mental weeds, man, I don't want that for you guys. I don't want that for you guys because that's a sticky mess of just keeping you stuck where you're at. And you can blow past that. And I know it sounds easier said than done. And I know everybody has different circumstances and different things that they're working on. And, maybe they've got really hard, messy challenges going in their life right now. But just know, as I've said before, these emotions, these challenges, these thoughts, feelings, and beliefs from other people are temporary. They're temporary. And if it's a challenge, it's a temporary challenge, and that you can get through this. Take a moment, take a breath, and realize that you can do this. You've overcome so many things in your life. I'm certain of that. You can overcome this. Be present. Identify these challenging, difficult emotions that you've got in your life and know that you can dismantle them. If they're challenging mental weeds, thoughts, feelings, opinions of others, challenging circumstances, what have you, know that you can get over them. You can absolutely get over them. And especially if you were like me and feeling like you always had to go to food to pacify these thoughts, feelings, and emotions and opinions from others, etc., 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 don't go to that. Don't pacify your emotions with food. You are so much more beautiful and beneficial. You don't need to go down that road, down that route. God, I can't speak today. You don't need to go down that avenue. You can deal with your emotions, dismantle them, look at them, and chop away a little bit at a time. And you can make it so that they are not challenges anymore. That they're tiny little pebbles. You can just be like, oh, fling. Or tiny little weeds. And you're just like, oh, maybe you're not such a big weed after all. Yoink. Bye. Gone. Because I know you can do this. I'm going to take a quick sip of water here real quick. So, talked about where I'm at now. As I've said, my goal, and I talked about it a little bit before I started recording live, my goal is to continue to grow, to build this to however big it ends up being. I'm not in a rush to get this any bigger than it is going to be. Again, I'm totally happy with a slow, steady, strong growth. I've seen growth in just from a year ago now. I've seen tremendous growth in my reach, in my the amount of people that I've been able to assist and consult with. I've seen it grow, oh my gosh, such to beautiful reaches all around the world. And it chokes me up because every time I share my story, I get at least a good handful of messages of people reaching out, sharing the same sentiments and saying that they have something similar to my story going on in their life, and that something that I said resonated with them to the point where they felt so inspired and motivated to write into me for my assistance of whatever kind. And that fires me up. That motivates me. And, I still have down days. I still have moments. I call them my my widow moments of where I get in my emotional headspace. And as you can hear the emotion in my voice, yeah, I still get those. Honestly, I get them every day. But if I don't deal with them or just say yeah, I'm having a sad moment right now, and be present with it and feel it, then I know it can get worse. The same goes for my previous history of emotional eating. And thankfully, that's to a point now with fasting in my life where it's become so much more manageable. And, now my current challenge is just like managing the stressors of, the day-to-day feelings and sentiments with the memories, emotions, and everything with being a widow, and like what my life looks going forward, and how despite being a widow, despite having to, parent my 2 kids by myself, like, yes, that's a challenge, and I'm extremely grateful for who they are, how beautiful they're doing in their lives, like, and being that double parent role as myself. I've got to do what I've got to do, but I have to be present with every one of those difficult moments as they come up. And that's what I want for all you guys too. I want you to know that you can deal with these difficult challenges that come up. There's going to be hard moments and there's going to be easy moments. As I've said in that video with Dr. Fung, there's going to be hard moments, there's going to be easy moments, there's going to be joy, there's going to be pain. And that's what I was talking about, the balance. There's going to be great and miserable. There's going to be positive, negative. Like, that's the balance of life, the universe, like, of everything. And yeah, be present. If I can impart that one thing with what that little tangent was about, be present. Be absolutely present. So, okay. So my next little bullet point here that I want to talk about, what do I have coming up next? So I've had, somebody asked, what is your longest fast? So I'm going to answer questions here at the end. I hope that's okay, but go ahead and stick around to the end, and I'm going to answer some questions once I finish up here. All right, so what my bullet point next saying about what I have coming up next. God, I can speak today. Goodness gracious. Am I still fasting, and will I continue to fast? So I actually still continue to fast every single day in some form. And in my days of maintenance these days, it tends to be about anywhere from, it's roughly about like an 18-6 or a 24, sometimes an OMAD, which is a 1 meal a day. And sometimes, very rarely is it like a 16-8. Most of the time, it's closer to the 18 to 20 hour range where I fast every single day. And this upcoming August will be 4 years that I have continued to fast every single day in some form. And as I've said before, this lifestyle that I've started and been doing with everything, with all of this, has just drastically affected everything in my life. And I wouldn't be the person that I am here today if I didn't have fasting. To keep me stable, to keep me really like present in my emotions, to help me conquer challenges, to help me enjoy the pleasures in life. Like this is it. Like this is it for me. So I absolutely feel like this is going to be something that I continue to do for the rest of my life. And is that going to be something that looks like, the extended fast for dedicated weight loss? No. I know there's always going to be times of celebration, of fluctuation, stress, challenges that come down the pipeline like all the time. As I've said before, because fasting is so flexible and fasting is so customizable, personalizable to really any lifestyle and anybody that wants to implement it actively in their life, it absolutely can be done. And it's got to have, you got to have that open mind and growth mindset to welcome and to have that be a valuable asset, a valuable tool in your life. And that's why I say, like, fasting is a tool. Fasting is absolutely a tool. It's not a restrictive thing. It's not I'm doing XYZ diet, I'm doing this restrictive thing. No, like, fasting is just a way of life. Like, that's the reason why I have this as the fasting focused lifestyle, because it's not just, as much as we want to just think it's just superficially about the weight loss. It becomes so much more passes vanity. Like, way, like so much more than you can even realize. Once you get to the point where your weight loss efforts are just like, I don't want to say they take second string or they take a back seat, but you start to realize once you have losses happening that, oh wow, behaviors start to change, mindset, the way that you think about every single thing in your life, and the way that you think, respond, react to everything in your life. Like all that starts to change and you start to be able to reflect and see things, I feel like, from a different perspective entirely. And fasting will do that. Like it makes you see things from like a kind of like you're looking at it from one angle, and it's kind of like fasting pivots you to a slightly different angle, and you're able to see it and you can think like, oh wow, yeah, this makes sense. Like, wow, I was doing it this way when I could probably be doing it this way. And one of the things that I've noticed significantly, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, in person with people, on consults with folks as well, I noticed personally that my attitude, mentality, the way that I deal with just the day-to-day stressors in general have significantly reduced, and I'm not nearly as reactive and short-tempered as I used to be. And again, this is a definite result of this lifestyle. And absolutely, with implementing fasting, implementing meditation, being aware of the emotions as they bubble up throughout the entire day, every single day. And it can sound overwhelming to some if you think and concern yourself. If you look at your day every single day and you think, oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do this. That simple switch from, oh, I gotta do this, or oh, this stress me, blah, blah, blah. Flip it and think, I heard a great, I want to say one of my favorite authors, Mark Manson, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He talks about this in different podcasts and different literature and his content, which is awesome. If you don't follow Mark Manson, I'm going to highly recommend you check him out as well. Great stuff. Just raw, real, in your face. And he put out content this one time that talked about the stressors and challenges that we have in our life. We brought them there. We made the choice to have them be a part of our life. And what he means by that is like, with, let's say, for example, you get a brand new house, right? You do the mortgage, you do the home repairs, all that whole home buying process. So as excited and, wonderful as it is to have a brand new house in your life, there's going to be positives and negatives to every situation, everything, every decision that you make is going to have positive elements and negative elements. And we have to consciously be aware that every time that we bring or make change into our lives, that this is going to happen. It's always going to have positive and negative circumstances. And that we have to break away from what, conventional society tells us, that it has to be just like, like what media and advertisements, and of course, like, those static, like vapid Instagram, just kind of like, my life is wonderful, I have no problems. You see like in the little snippet video or photos and stuff, and then what you don't see behind the scenes is them like, like stressed out, screaming, or like freaking out about who knows what else. But like, what we bring into our lives is going to have positive elements and it's going to have negative elements. And we have to know this with everything, with every single thing, from the foods that we eat, the people that we talk to, the things that we buy, the places that we go, everything. Every single thing is going to have some kind of positive and negative consequence element to it. And this is something that is obviously going to go on for the rest of our life. And what we allow will continue. So if you have behaviors, habits, people in your life, things, habits, whatever that you've got going on in your life that stress you out, that you feel you can't break away from, it's time to dismantle them. It's time to call them out. It's time to identify, because if you feel your days just fill up with stress, and you have no elements of happiness, no things in parts of your day that bring you joy, it's time to identify them, to call them out, and to realize that you can impart change on your life. You can make the changes over time, whether it's, if it's your job, try, doing what you can to fix it, or maybe talk to the people that are causing the stress, or it might be time to make a shift and change careers entirely. It's going to vary person to person. I'm not going to tell you to, cause drama or anything, because I don't believe in that, but I know that there's always an option, because again, like I said, these things that we bring into our life, the decisions that we make, things that we buy, people that we talk to, there's always positive and negative elements. I forgot where I was going with that tangent, but anyway, I fully plan on continuing this lifestyle for the rest of my life. This is just my default. This has just become my default setting now. And I love it. I love when challenges come up that I'm able to handle without going too far off the rails, because it allows me to reflect. And I don't spend too much time reflecting on things just for my own personal reasons and decisions, because weird headspace. But reflecting when things are challenging and difficult, of when I overcome them, and realizing that I don't have to give into moments of stressors, because the more we allow ourselves to react and respond, even as small, if you're the type of person, and I apologize, please don't take this personally. If you're the type of person to let somebody cut you off in traffic, and that stress from that moment ripple negatively throughout the rest of your day, I'm just going to give you a big virtual hug right now and let you know that I hope things don't stay like that forever. To know that those little stressors are actually probably deeper seated and related to so many other factors in your life, that this was just like one little spark that caused additional frustration on top of everything else that you're probably already dealing with in your life. So big hug to you. Okay. You don't have to react in that sense. So all these stressed out drivers I'm seeing on the road all throughout my neighborhood, woosah, y'all, let's take it down. We don't need to be super reactive or super angry on the road. I know life is stressful, but one thing at a time. Doesn't have to be. It absolutely doesn't have to be. So I'm going to talk about future plans and goals. So we got just a few more things here before I tie up the episode and take some questions if you guys have them. Future plans and goals. I am obviously continuing to grow this. I think it's within the next couple weeks. There's supposed to be still can't believe that these words are coming out of my mouth. There's supposed to be a national magazine that is featuring me in there, talking about my weight loss, talking about the dietary choices that I've made along my weight loss journey with implementing fasting, talking about my fasting journey, and how I have been eating predominantly plant-based, predominantly high dietary fat content, like a Mediterranean kind of style. It's extremely exciting because, again, I didn't ask for any of this notoriety, this media exposure. All this stuff just kind of finds me, and these opportunities just bubble up from the people I connect to. And again, this kind of ties into the previous things I was just talking about with being open and vulnerable to the things that happen in our life, the people that we connect with, and allowing these ripples to continue to pour outward from my story, and just seeing how much of a positive influence that continues to make. Because as I've said before, I want to be the change that I wish to see in the world. And it continues to happen, and it blows me away. This lady that goodness gracious, my mind is just like spin, spin, spin. A very nice lady connected with me on Instagram. Gosh, it was like the beginning of this year, probably close to, and was talking to me because she found my weight loss story on Instagram and sent me a message. And I looked at it as I'm sure I'm not the only one who gets Instagram spam messages, like just insane. Like it's a bit too much, but I looked at the message initially and I thought that it had a little bit similar to a spam sounding kind of message, but I replied back and started talking to her a bit, and turns out she actually works for a lot of different magazine media companies around the New York City area. And that just blew me away that she wanted to do a story on me and my journey, my weight loss. Again, I didn't reach out to her. She reached out to me, and just more exposure as you can see, it's got me like at a loss for words. It's incredible. And things got real when I'm so like all beside myself. I can't even speak. Goodness gracious, Vicky, when I had hair and makeup and a photographer come to my house to do a photo shoot in my house. And yes, I know before I had done a photo shoot, and even a lot of folks, and even my dad has messaged me that he saw the commercial that I was in for Healthy Wage when they flew me up to New York in September, I think it was September 2020. And I still get people telling me from that, and the local magazine that is here in Ocala that I was on the front cover of. Like all these little opportunities, not little by any means, Vicky, come on. All these opportunities, these beautiful, amazing opportunities to get exposure with my story are just, I can't believe it. I do believe it, but I still am just like so incredulous about it because, here come the tears. None of this would have happened if I gave up on myself. None of this would have happened if I stopped when things got hard. None of this would have happened if midway with becoming a widow, if I just went back to old Vicky and just like binged and ate my feelings back again. It was like I knew the value of this lifestyle like very early on. And it was probably only like a month or 2 months into this that I was like, wow, this is the magic sauce. Like, this is it for me. And it almost mentally erased every other, shitty diet method that I'd ever tried before. And I just solidified in my mind, like, this was it. Like, this was my way. This is what I was going to do. And that's when I found Healthy Wage, signed up with them. That's when things really started to pick up because I was like, damn, this is it. This is my method. And I fully invested in the whole process because I knew the changes that were happening on me externally, internally, mentally, emotionally, everything. And that, what was it? It was like shortly after, I knew before my husband passed away, I was sharing my story and sharing my losses, and I had people start to reach out to me because at that time it was just my network of friends that I had from different parts of the country of where I've lived and grew up and went to school in like New England and everything. And people were reaching out to me then and getting advice and stuff from me then. And I was glad to give it. Like I loved to give the advice and guidance and support of what I knew at that time. And I remember him, my late husband, telling me like, you could get this. Why don't you go back to school? Why don't you go get your degree in helping people? And I was like, I don't know about that because I'd worked in medical. And again, I had that fear of like, if I can't do it right, then why do it at all, right? Like that's, additionally what diet culture tells us that we just got to do. And I knew that it would be something where if I was going to do it, I would have to be ready for it. I would have to do it and decide to do it when I was ready. And it wasn't until after he passed in November of 2019, and it was the fall of 2020. The fall of 2020, after his passing, after quarantine and lockdowns and all this stuff, I was like, my losses, that summer of 2020 was when I reached my over 200 pound weight loss goal. And I was like, this is it. This is it. Like, I need to do this. I need to step up. I need to do this. And I started looking for options of where I could, connect with to get these licensure, certifications, degrees, whatever. And that's when Arizona State University popped up, and I just hit the ground running. And like I've said before earlier in the episode here, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I still am very, very, I can't believe that this is even an option. So without going too much into it, I've talked about it other episode briefly, but I'm going to continue now as time's getting closer. The fall of last year, so fall 2021, fall 2021, I took a course, and it was called An Exploration of Health and Well-Being. And this is a course specific to my major. And in this course, we talked about like really valuable things like meditation and lifestyle and happiness and everything, and how all that actually really affects and can influence your overall health and well-being in general. And one of the things that we had talked about that I had been loosely familiar with before was the blue zones. And the blue zones, there's only a small handful. I believe there's only about like 5 areas in the world that are considered blue zones. And side note, if you're unfamiliar with what blue zones are, the blue zones are places in the world where there are the most amount of centenarians. And the centenarians are folks that live to an average of 100 or more. And their population is really concentrated in these areas in the world. So one of the places that they had discussed in the course last fall was Eeek, Greece. And they had mentioned just mentioned it, that they had taken trips with students from all around the world to this blue zone in Greece to study their health, their culture, their community, their diet, their lifestyle, everything to be there and to really get heavily immersed in the culture and experience what it's like to be in a blue zone. And they had mentioned that was an option for students. And I was like, oh, that would be cool if I, blah, 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 down the line. Well, January, what was it? No, it was end of the year. It was the end of the year last year. So the end of the year last year, I got an email about it. And I kind of dragged my feet a little bit. Well, the beginning of this year, I applied. And I found out that there were lots. I would at least a few hundred folks, students with Arizona State University in person, online, everywhere that those students are, applied for this opportunity to go in person and study in the blue zones. And your girl here was chosen to go and study, one of 12 students from the entire university, to go to the blue zones in Eeek, Greece, to study the culture, to study the health, the wellness, the longevity, the lifestyle, everything. I get to be there. I get to go and study in Greece. And this is still like, yes, it's Greece, and yes, it's incredible. And I'm so looking forward to this because it's Greece. Like, why not? Like, I get to fly into Athens. Like, my flight is from Orlando, Florida to Athens. But the thing that, like, yes, I'm excited to fly. Yes, I'm excited to travel. Yes, I'm excited for all this stuff. The biggest, most meaningful thing I'm so excited for, besides, attempting to be friends with however many centenarians that I can, like that's a side goal here. My thing I'm most excited for is I want to get as many takeaways and as much knowledge, wisdom, experience that I can, so that I can take it and give it right back to all of you who want it, who want to really reap the benefits of having a full, rich, quality, long, healthy, meaningful, rich life. I want that. I want that for every single person that I connect with, as long as they want it for themselves, as long as they are willing to show up and put in the work and be there for themselves, for their family's future. This is what I want. This is what I'm so excited about. I'm excited to see, I can feel the bubbles of emotion right now. I'm so excited to see how much of a positive, I'm so excited to see how much of an influence this trip is going to be, not just on my life personally, but professionally, and how that is going to continue to ripple outward and affect so many others' lives around the world. And truly, this is going to be something for the rest of my life, that this is going to be positively influenced. Like, this is a big freaking deal. I am super excited about it. And so my efforts right now, with my future plans, is that with this trip coming up, with everything that I've got going personally, professionally, like as a single widowed mom of 2 kids, like, of course I qualify for financial aid, and my hustle and grind right now is to make sure that I have all my financial ducks in a row and make sure that I've got everything together that I need to. And I know that my financial aid has been extremely helpful. Like, I wouldn't be able to do school right now if I didn't have financial aid. And I'm extremely appreciative and grateful for all of that. So I'm going to continue to let folks know that have subscribed to my website, listening here on my podcast, that I am wanting to get as many folks that need my help to get started before my trip. And my trip is going to be from June 10th until the 26th. So throughout that time, I will have my calendar blocked off for my trip. But before then, though, I'm open and ready to assist and support folks however I can be. I've been working very hard with getting my website and things in order on my back office end so that I can be more of an assistance to folks who need me. And I am probably going to be opening up a little bit more extended availability on some additional nights and maybe one weekend day, as well as I'm considering also, if you're interested in, I was suggested to also potentially have weekly instead of monthly, the support meeting. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let me know. I'm definitely interested in considering and listening to all feedback and suggestions on that avenue as well. So I'm definitely needing to make sure financially that things are set on the back end so that the trip is able to happen successfully and without any bubbles or troubles or anything like that. So I am ready to help support, guide, consult if you are in need of it. So lastly, I want to talk about with the exposure. And one of the things that my kids talk to me about a lot, and they get all excited because they're kids and they see it from their point of view, which is adorable. And they keep saying things that I keep hearing when I'm in some consults sometimes, and to different effects when I talk to different people, whether personally or professionally. And sometimes when I connect with folks for the first time, I get their response is sometimes like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. Like, you're a fasting celebrity. Like, I just want to be like, stop that. Knock it off. Stop. Don't put me on a pedestal. I'm like, we are on the same level. We're on the same level. I'm not above and you're not below me. We are on the same level. I'm here right beside you. I will never see or put myself at a higher position than anybody, because first off, I wouldn't be where I'm at exposure-wise, popularity-wise, if you want to even say that. With everything that I've been able to accomplish so far, it's because I showed up and didn't stop. Like, I didn't stop and I won't stop. So I don't feel like it makes me giggle and makes me laugh, and it's like, oh, it's just like a compliment. Okay, yep. I would never and will never see myself at a higher position than anybody else, because I want you all to win. I want every single person that connects with me every single person that connects with me and reaches out to me for support, because, sorry guys, that's a really vulnerable spot to like have that, a lot of people don't know me besides seeing my videos or listening to a podcast episode and being like, wow, she, could really help me. It's because I've been there, and it's a really hard and vulnerable, really scary thing to message somebody and say, hey, I need help. So like, to those people, man, I'm giving you like a big virtual hug right now to know that I'm super appreciative and super, super thankful for you. And I never, even going forward back then to today and in the future, I will never put myself at a higher position than you. We are all on the same level. I have the same respect, admiration, and just appreciation and gratitude for every single one of you that listens to me, that resonates with anything that I say, gets inspired by anything that I share, gets motivated. Like, we are all on the same level. So like, it's cute, and I take it as a compliment when, I receive the compliments, because of course it's nice, but it comes to a point where like, I've come to realize my sentiments with the, I guess, quote unquote popularity that I've been getting. Yes, it's nice to get the exposure. Yes, it's great. But all of this, I feel it means nothing, absolutely nothing, if you don't take and impart change in your life. Like, I don't want you all to sit at home and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, she did it, so that's so great, and then just not do anything about it. Like, if something I said, shared, talked about, discussed, inspired, motivated, or like gave you a little mental, like a mental ping or whatever, and you don't do anything with it, like, oh man, I don't want that. I don't want that for you guys. If there's something about my story, my content, my things that I put out and share with my heart, if it moves you, and of course, if you get like, congratulations, Vicky, oh, that's so great, that's so nice, and it ends there, and if you're in a position where you need to drastically change some elements of your life, not to say that you have to reach out to me if you don't need it, but if something I said, did, shared, etc., struck a chord to the point where you're sending me a message and you're like, oh, this is great, this is, happy, congratulations, oh, beautiful, good job, blah, 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 and it ends there, oh, that's really sad. Like, I don't want that for you. I don't want that at all, especially if you have things in your life that need to be fixed, especially with health and your quality of life. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that for you. So before I wrap things up, I'm going to just give a loving, supportive, kind hug to you all, and a reminder that I do consult with folks. And as I've talked about, if you're this far into the podcast episode, you've heard that I do connect with people all around the world. My podcast reach that I love looking at. I love seeing where and how far the ripples of this audio from just this lady here flapping her gums here in Central Florida, like, where in the world has my voice been, and whose ear holes? Oh my gosh, where my voice has been heard, and the ripples of change, where that has taken and who it's affected. Like, that means so much, y'all. Like, I can't tell you how much I greatly to every cell and fiber of my being. Like, that means a lot. That's a lot. And I won't take this for granted. Like, I don't take this for granted at all. Because this is like, so many movies or something, it may be like a Harry Potter thing, but like, with great power comes great responsibility. And this is a lot of responsibility for this. So this is like a treasure to me, like a responsibility and a treasure of mine that I take to a very high regard. So I mean it. I truly, and I say this every time, and I'll continue saying it because I truly believe it. Like I made on my little bracelet here for those of you guys that can see. So it says IBIYEIYD, which stands for I believe in you even if you don't. And I say it every single episode because I truly, truly freaking mean it with every breath, with every cell, every bit of my being, of who I am. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't mean it and was so truly invested, from the top of my head to the tip of my toes. This is it. Like, this is the magic sauce for me, as I said earlier in the episode. Like, this is an absolutely life-changing process that I want for anybody that wants this for themselves. Because you can have it. I said this before, I feel like I'm at the top of like this awesome VIP rooftop bar. But the cool thing about this is, y'all, I want every single one that I see walking by that's like, oh, what's going on up there? Oh, there's some kind of rooftop party. And I'm at the top, yes, but I've got this giant megaphone and I'm like, hey, you awesome people down there, you can be up here too. But the thing is, there's no elevator, i.e. quick fix. There's no quick way to get up. You've got to take the stairs up. And the stairs can be messy. The stairs can be hard. There can be steps missing. The steps may lead you in the wrong direction and may take you around a couple times before going up to the next flight. But I'm telling you, once you get to the top of the steps, it is beautiful. It is an absolute beautiful place to be because you have a whole new view and perspective of your world, of everything. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And I want that. I want that for every single one of you. So before I adjourn, I'm going to give you all another there's been a lot of hugs in this episode because y'all deserve it. Big, warm, squishy hug from me. And I hope you have a beautiful, awesome rest of your day, wherever you are. Again, if you need support, please go to thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com and let me know. I'd love to assist you, support you, guide you, motivate you, and inspire you to whatever end you need with fasting as a lifestyle tool. Because, again, I believe in you, even if you don't. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody. The Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2022. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.